gaffer, just approaching 3 weeks into it now. How's progress?
Progress is huge. I think, you know, the lads coming through in the summer, you know, it's given us great gains, and you know, it's given me a great starting point to get them up to a good level. The level they're at is very exciting for me as a manager, coach, and the coaching staff. You know, we're getting massive gains, you know, in terms of the endurance base we're building, the injury prevention. The full programme's been good, and you know, they're a great set of boys to work with. They're really putting it in games, they're putting it in training, and I've been happy with the workload. And the weather makes a difference. You know, the weather gets out here. We can get out morning and afternoon, and again, it's been tough. It's been a tough 3 weeks. But you know, I'd expect nothing different. It's something we love doing. We love coming into work, and I love working with this group. There's a brilliant mix and a good balance. You know, you've got Ryan Law's experience, but his professionalism is incredible. With the likes of Jim McNulty, with the experienced pros, and Pabs. You know, Pabs fights every day to get fitter and fitter, and he is doing. He's getting through every day. The track day we did, which was a mental one. You know, the players got through that superbly. So I've been really happy with the balance. It's a brilliant balance to the squad. So I've had a few of the young lads train, and it's been tough for them. It's been tough for them because they're trying to keep up with the likes of Tutty and Nicky Adams and the front runners. So it's a programme that's had a bit of everything in it, but certainly from a football wise, the quality on show is quite incredible.
Fitness wise, are you where you want to be?
Yeah, probably a touch in front, you know. A touch in front, just because of how they come back. You know, I can really, you know, gear it up and now in the last 3 weeks go to that next phase, the sharpness phase, the quickness, the power base. I can, you know, we can get that in. They've had the endurance now. They've had the miles on the clock, and the time and the recovery times are coming down all the time. So, you know, we're right where I want to be, and I'm delighted with that.
In terms of team spirit, it's never really gone away, has it? Even from back in your days as a player.
I don't know, because obviously I weren't here then, but I think, you know, I weren't here in between that time. But I think that it's about the group. You know, it's about you get good people in a group. You get people who are on the same page, and that's the key. You know, everyone at this football club's on the same page now, which is really important. And you get that. There's great togetherness. You know, people like Nicky Adams, Ryan Law. You start bringing them to the club. Jim McNulty's real characters, Sedges, Clive Platt, absolute characters. Yeah. I don't believe that academies are producing them type of people anymore. Not players, but people. And you need them. You need them in a dressing room to guide a dressing room, to lead a dressing room, to you know, to pull a dressing room together. And we've got that. We've got a brilliant blend, and I'm really happy, you know, with where the dressing room's at. Spirit comes from working hard. You know, this ideology that spirit comes from, you know, lads going out together and all that. That's gone. That's old school. You know, the spirit comes from working hard together, knowing that you're improving. Older players wanting younger players to become as good as they can be. That's the spirit that I want to grow in here. That you know, you're not just here in League Two to pick up your money. You know, we've got an aim, we've got an objective, and that objective is, you know, the older players have got to want that, and the experienced players have got to want to lead them players to the promised land. So we've got a dressing room that's well balanced, and want the best for each other, and that's key to building a good team spirit.
Move on to Wednesday night. Did you see what you wanted to see?
It was a difficult night. You know, it was a real difficult night. It's not conducive anymore. I don't believe that, you know, playing at that sort of level now is conducive to a professional environment. The pitch was okay, just about okay. There was no, you know, there's no chance for the clubs of Radcliffe and, you know, to get water on it and slick it up a little bit so it was sticky. And the lads themselves, the Radcliffe boys, I think it's tough for Kev because usually he's had a competitive team, and you know, he's had a better quality of player, and you know, it was difficult for them to get anywhere near us. So obviously you end up getting smashed and kicked and caught late, which disappointed me. The full back, we couldn't get anywhere near anyone. Smoked the young kid out. Keil O'Brien's, you know, gone over. So it was a disappointing night in that aspect. Anthony Dudley, you know, I brought him off and put Tom Walsh on. Tom Walsh displays the highest level of enthusiasm I've ever seen at a football club. And I was trying to show Anthony Dudley that enthusiasm alone is a given. It should be a given to go on a pitch and run. Whoever you're playing against, whatever the pitch is, run. And it's a massive lesson for Anthony Dudley to get brought off and me put Tom on. I didn't do it out of disrespect. I put Tom Walsh on to show that enthusiasm on a football pitch and how far it can take you. Because if you're not prepared to run, you won't play. You know, it's as simple as that. If you know, I've seen Ryan Lowe come in here and want to run for this team. Your Pablo Mills fighting on a track to run for his teammates. So if it's good enough for me top experienced players, and it's good enough for the young players at this football club, and hopefully they learnt a tough, harsh lesson the other night, and you know, I'm hoping that transcends down, and it's a real lesson for Anthony Dudley to now find his way and start to really run for his teammates and run for himself. So that's an important one. But it was a tough night. I mean, Grimes, he put an incredible shift in. Nathan Cameron, you know, put a good shift in. Disappointing, obviously, Keele come out of the game due to injury. Joe Widdowson's finding his feet. You know, I wanted to have a look at Joe. Joe's finding his feet and got better as the game went on. He was only going to play 45, but Joe wanted to stay out there and played the full 90. So there were some pleasing aspects, but you know, I've learned as a manager now that you know, you start taking a real professional team down to a night like that, and there's not many winners. There's not many winners, and you know, it's a difficult ask for the players. It's not a mental one anymore. You're not going saying, you know, I don't want no injuries through pre-season. It's difficult to guide a team through with no injuries. And you try and look towards your injury prevention, and that was the only disappointing, you know, aspect of the night.
With everything you've said, then the standard of the pitch, the quality of the opposition, injury prevention, is why we didn't see so many of the first team players.
We did. We trained on here with 12 of the first team, and it was an excellent session. You know, we got it cut right, we got it prepped right. We did a fantastic session. The tempo was electric. We did a pressing session. The tempo was electric, and the boys worked really hard in the afternoon. But you know, if people think that I'm going to, you know, the chairman's invested in Danny Mayer, in Ryan Lowe and Nicky Adams, for the Bury fans to enjoy this season. And if people think I'm daft enough to take them sort of players and all my first team players across to Radcliffe Borough to get injured or potentially get injured, then you know, I'm not mad yet. I'm not mad yet. I've not gone to that side yet. And you know, we think about everything. We think about that. If people aren't happy, you know, I'll have to deal.
There's a bigger picture.
Oh, there's a bigger picture than just seeing Ryan Lowe play or Nicky Adams play. You know, we're trying to design a pre-season that gets us out of pre-season injury-free. We're managing all players' loads. We're looking at every aspect of the training time, training minutes, match time, match minutes. Every sprint's, you know, documented and detailed and evaluated. So, you know, I'm not gonna, like I said, we got a reward that afternoon with the session we did. It was a fantastic session. The lads got a lot out of it. Then it's rest and recovery, you know, for the next day. So, if I'm not pleasing people, I'm not. You know, I'm not a people pleaser. It's not me. I've got a vision to how this team's going to look. Yeah. I've got a clear vision to how we're going to play. I've got a clear vision to how we're going to be fitter than most teams. And I've got to now pull that together. And if that means not, you know, taking place to Radcliffe Borough, then that means, you know, that I won't do it.
You got another game Saturday at West Brom. How do you approach this one?
Well, it's an interesting one. You know, I spoke to Sean Dyche, and that's what they did a lot last season, behind closed doors teams, instead of serving, you know, a few local clubs. They did a lot behind closed doors. So we've got the West Brom game, then the Melbourne game behind closed doors, and you know, you're talking about playing on a 25mm pitch. It'll be slicked up, it'll be ready, it'll be prepared. I'll have respect if one of my players goes over the top in a tackle. I'll bring him off. It'll be competitive, but not to a point where, you know, we're looking at injuring any West Brom players. So they've chose us because we're a professional outfit, and we'll go over there and epitomise professionalism. I'm looking forward to pitting our wits against them. They're going to have a lot of the ball. It'll be a warm day. So from a fitness point of view, we'll be working out of possession, looking at what we do out of possession, and that's key. what our session will represent. So really looking forward to that. The players are, and again it's that game time, and I'll make sure that we get everyone as much game time as we can, because now it's the exciting bit starts now. You know, seeing what we need to do, seeing where we're at, and seeing what we need to do over the course of the next 3 weeks after the West Brom game.
And you're going to have a better idea come Saturday evening of what's needed?
Yeah, I think that the Redcliffe game gave me an idea to where people like Anthony Dudley are and Scott Burge. So we've addressed that. They've got to maybe go back into the school of learning with Kiddo and start learning the game a little bit. Maybe the training programme with the first team's caught up with them, and it's a little bit tough for them. So I've learned a lot from the Redcliffe game in terms of my younger players. I had a great look at the boy Bourne, who I thought was fantastic on the night. He really. So every game tells you a different story, tells you a different picture, and it tells you something that you want to see. It's from the games. You can do as much training as you want, but in the games you start seeing little pictures develop. I'm so excited to see the combinations we can possibly have tomorrow with Louie and Nicky and Danny May. I'm really looking forward to that, and Tutty joining in that trio. I want to see Kelvin Atu go about his work tomorrow. So I'm like a kid tomorrow. I'm excited myself. I've got the Friday night sort of nerves coming back, and then I can't wait to get to West Brom tomorrow and get involved in the games, because they tell you a different story than what training does.
Is there that much a gap between youth team football and then training with the first team and moving on?
It possibly wasn't 6 months ago, but I think we've up-specced the quality of player and athlete that much that it's gone away again. So
almost to the point that possibly getting left behind.
They won't get left behind, because we've got to come up with a system that develops that, and I've started it now with the 12-year-olds. So we've looked at our 12-year-olds, and they're doing a lot more physical work and speed work and endurance work, and that's where it's going to have to start. God, we released 6 players because they weren't physically strong enough or fit enough or dynamic enough. So we've got to keep dropping back on the academy and making sure that they are ready. It's the greatest model that I've ever seen is Southampton, and Cortez, he went in there from the start, and he said to his academy director and the coaches that I want to make Champions League players, and it seemed mad at the time in League One. I want us to create Champions League players. So Southampton's done it, and Southampton give them a pathway into the first team, and you've only got to look what's happened to Southampton in the last month that they've achieved that goal. But it starts with the 8-year-olds. So we've got to make sure that we look at that, we address our academy, which we are doing. Ian Kendall's come along, and the changes that they're making and the work they're putting in is quite staggering, really, in terms of structure and processes. So we're having a right go in terms of that. But I've just got to make sure the lads that was already in there, your Duds and your Burge and your Posh, that they're getting enough guidance, and that I'm not. We're relentless. This first team's relentless. They're in a brilliant place, and it might be too much now. I might be asking too much of these young kids to keep up with them and stay with them. Andrew Tutt, Nicky Adams, Danny May, they're athleticism-wise, they're on a different level. Yeah. So it's a little bit tough for these kids to catch up, and I don't want to drain them. I don't want to mentally and physically drain them. So it's important we look after them. We've given them a home. We've got to make sure we look after them, and that's what we'll be doing. But certainly, the professionalism and the attitude and the drive from the first team players, it's a difficult level to reach for them players right at this minute.
When you go to bed at night, do you think of your squad that you've got and just lie there smiling?
No, because I want to continually improve. I want to. We're light at the minute. There's no doubt about that. After watching the Redcliffe game, we're light. Numbers wise, I'm not going to count Anthony Dudley and Scotty Burgess and Posher in my numbers this season, because they're not physically, mentally, tactically, technically. They're not ready yet. They're not ready for the assault on this league that we need to do. So. We are a little bit light. We've took a couple of injuries through the game the other night, so it's really important that we make sure. We had 37, 38 players last season, and that can't never happen again. Certainly on my watch. The quantity, I've replaced that for quality. There's no doubt about that. And now it'll be a case of maybe looking at 2 or 3 more that we can bring in to add to that. But they've got to be the right people. I'm in no rush to bring anyone in, but they've got to be the right people to get in this group and be a part of this group. They've got to be the right people, and that's what you know, I'm charged to do at the football club.
When do you start penciling names for Cheltenham?
It's been happening since we signed him. You know, since we signed him, I sat down with certain players who we signed and who we had last season through the summer, and we talked about what it might look like, what the team might look like. I won't just sign players for the sake of it. You know, there's a real reason. There's a design process to it. Any player we recruit, there's a circle of trust that chooses that player. Why we're choosing that player? What are the reasons for? And what is his pathway, what is his football map, and that's really important that we get that right, and we continue to get that right, because the recruitment here has over the last 18 months has been, you know, scatterbomb. It's been really just bring a player in because we can, or because we should do.
Yeah.
I've got to have a real plan. Why is he coming in? Where's he going to play? Is he going to lead? Is he going to, is he going to be able to play 2 different positions? What does that team look like? The details that go into that, God, are quite
it's relentless.
It is, and it's got to be. Futch is a thinker, Brass is a thinker, so I test them and I quiz them, and I make sure that have they seen anything that I've not, and have they seen something round the corner, have they seen something in the future, can we improve? Each player now's got a football map, what I call a football map, that we know the start of where they're going, but where can we take them to? And that's important. You know, all the coaches are in sync with that. All my fitness coaches are, my strength conditioning coaches. So every single player, if they've got a deficiency, we'll be working on it over the season. It won't come all together, but certainly over the season it will.
Overall then, happy? Really
delighted with the way the squad's shaping up, with their attitude and application. It's second to none. There's an honesty and a sincerity about the work. And there's an enjoyment in what they do. They love coming into the football club, as I do, and you know, if they don't, I'll see it, I'll smell it, and I'll do something about it. But this group of players absolutely love coming in and spending time with each other, which is going to be key.
Brilliant.
Cheers, God. Goodbye.